Welcome, mortal souls, to Strange Darkness Radio. Within the echoes of our hosts' haunting voices, terror weaves through the airwaves like a malevolent symphony. I am Benson, your spectral guide, leading you into the uncharted realms of the macabre. Brace yourself for a descent into a paranormal abyss with hosts Bobby Washington, Carolyn Grey, and Amy Tydeman. They traverse through tales that linger in the shadows, spectral apparitions, haunted domains, cryptids, and otherworldly encounters. Embrace the darkness, extinguish the lights, steel your nerves for a bone-chilling night into the heart of the unknown. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. And I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
Welcome back for another episode of Strange Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Bobby Washington, along with...
I'm Carolyn Grey.
Amy Tydeman.
And ladies, how are you guys doing tonight on this very interesting eve?
Not too bad. Happy to see all of you again.
That is
Me
awesome.
too.
Carolyn, how's your week? Because I know you were saying you were having a crazy week.
Yeah, I'm still not ready to talk about last weekend,
Oh, what?
but I do
What
have
happened
some
last
news.
week? I don't remember last weekend, but okay.
We tried to get her to spill her tea.
Oh,
She tried to get me to spill my tea, but she wasn't ready. So,
okay.
okay. Yeah.
I like to hear the tea. I don't like to spill the tea.
Oh,
I'm the same.
that's funny.
But I do have news. My roommate adopted a dog, so
Okay.
we have a new addition to our little family.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
what kind of dog?
We think he's a husky. He's a Malamute Siberian mix, possibly with German Shepherd. He's a big boy,
Oh, wow.
but he's super sweet, super gentle. His name is Ghost because he's actually an albino,
Oh, wow.
so he's white.
Oh,
That's
what
fitting.
a very
Yeah.
fitting
Okay.
name.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's pretty.
Cool.
So that's
Nice,
my
very
exciting
nice.
news for the week.
Well, that's good to hear because I thought you were going to say I'm moving again. So
That's what I thought you were going to say too. Yeah.
Not yet. No, I'm still loving my new place. I love my roommate. Like I said, we have a new dog added to our family, so I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime
Okay.
soon.
nice.
Sorry,
Okay.
Bobby.
Oh no, that's a good thing. Why are you saying sorry to me? Oh, you mean
'Cause
back
I know
to
you
SAC?
want me to come back to Cali.
Oh yeah, well you will eventually. So or if
Eventually.
even if it's to visit, it's fine. So we have a
Yeah, I'll come visit.
lot of things that we need to get into as far as exploring different areas and doing Monterey trips and stuff like that. So
Yes.
we'll
I'm
still do
excited for
those
that. Mm-hmm.
things as time goes. But tonight we have a very special guest who to me is very incredible because just like I do, I'm always seeking information and trying to help others with their paranormal situations via telling their story or finding someone who can help them in their situation of what's been going on, at their home, in their lives, just different things. And I found someone who does that and more. And I believe she's an incredible person. So I want to get right into this, you guys. Here we go.
Take it away, Benson.
Welcome, brave souls, to another bone-chilling episode of Strange Darkness Radio. Tonight we pierce the shadows and venture into the heart of the unknown with a formidable guide at our side. Emerging from the mists of mystery, we present Deborah Roque, a powerful intuitive guide and witch who has spent 8 years navigating the treacherous waters of the supernatural. Deborah is no mere spectator in the realm of spirits. She is a master of arcane arts, crafting personalized spells that shield, heal, and manifest abundance for those who dare to seek her aid. Her insights have illuminated the pages of Paranormality magazine, and her digital sanctuaries, a Paranormal Paradigma on Instagram and paranormalparadigma.com, serve as beacons for lost souls adrift in a sea of skepticism. Brace yourselves, dear listeners, for an evening that will challenge your perceptions and awaken your senses. With Deborah Roque as our guide, we'll traverse the boundaries of reality, unearthing secrets long buried and confronting truths that lurk in the shadows. Prepare to feel the electric charge of the unknown, to be supported in your darkest doubts, and to believe in the impossible. For tonight, in the strange darkness, Deborah Roque will lead us on a journey through the paranormal that you won't soon forget. Please welcome Deborah Roque to Strange Darkness Radio.
Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, Deborah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I know Benson said a lot, but please tell us how you got into this and started, and a little bit about your background.
All right. So where do I start? I guess, well, I wasn't always into the paranormal. I mean, let me rephrase that. I've always been into the paranormal and like occult stuff and like the freaky, macabre, scary stuff. But I didn't really believe in it. So for me, it was just like an aesthetic. It was just like mythology and folklore and everything that I thought that was very, very interesting. And I was definitely into, but not really a believer of. As a matter of fact, I was a complete atheist for a good chunk of my early life, probably by the late teens and all throughout my 20s. Like I was just a person who just believed in science. I was in school studying science. And for me, you know, reality was material and objective, and, you know, truth is objective and reality is material. And so that was that. Like, that was just it. I loved the paranormal. I thought it was cool, but there was not much other than that. But that really all sort of took a different turn when my father passed away.
Okay.
And so this was interesting because my father was also an atheist, and he also didn't believe in anything. And I think that probably helped shape my own beliefs, though my mom was a believer, and I grew up around very religious and, you know, believers for the most part. And my father was really the only atheist that I knew. So it was just really interesting that I actually took that road instead of others. But anyway, point is that in 2015, it was the weekend before Father's Day, and my sister and I decided to get together to go to Orlando and celebrate the opening weekend of Jurassic World. It's one of our favorite movies. There's
such a good movie.
It is. The first one, well, Jurassic World is really good. The other sequels, like, is debatable, but
Agreed.
But Jurassic World was really, really good.
Yeah.
So we were celebrating because for us and our family, like, Jurassic Park was like one of the best movies, like, to ever have, you know, touched cinema. And we just have a lot of good memories with the movie. So we decided to get together. She lived in Gainesville. I lived in Miami. So we just kind of got together in Orlando, and we decided to, you know, go to the IMAX experience, all this stuff. Anyway, that was the point of our trip. So my dad calls us probably that Friday, and he got a little upset because he said that we didn't call him when we got to Orlando. Like, you know, all parents want to know where their kids are, all this stuff. And I told him, I was like, well, I'm sorry, Dad. You know, I love you. And I told him, don't worry, I'll call you when we get back. We're going to plan Father's Day. I'll see you on Father's Day. Like, everything was just like normal.
Yeah.
That happens. Yeah, it was just like normal. That happens. I think we watched the movie on Saturday. And then I go to sleep. When I go to sleep, I wake up around midnight because I like startled, like very, very concerned. And I'm very concerned and I just don't know what's going on. And I'm like, what is happening? Because I'm very concerned for my father's well-being. Like all of a sudden I'm freaking out about my dad, which was very weird for me because I had never woken up in my life concerned for anything other than maybe myself. Like, oh my God, something's happening, you know, or whatnot, or something I gotta turn, I don't know, other than my own stress, I guess, but not for the well-being of another person. So I thought that that was really odd. But because I didn't really believe anything, I didn't think like, oh, this is probably my dad's spirit coming to tell me something, or, oh, maybe this is like a warning. Like I didn't think any of that. The only thing I thought of was, oh, I must be concerned because my father he was like, his health was, you know, deteriorating. Though for me, he was still pretty healthy.
Yeah.
But you know, I was just like, oh, I must be concerned. His health is deteriorating. He sounded kind of, you know, weird on the phone.
So you didn't try to call him or anything? You just kind of went back to
midnight. Yeah, like not at midnight because my dad like went to sleep early and he kind of woke up pretty early. So I didn't think of like calling him because it was just kind of like, we just spoke yesterday. He didn't tell me he was feeling bad. He didn't tell me anything. You understand? Like everything to me at that point was normal. So, you know, I just was like, okay, I'll call him in the morning. Like I just didn't think anything of it. Like, oh, that's weird. Okay, I'll call him in the morning. I go back to sleep thinking it was some, you know, I just checked it up to some sort of psychological manifestation of fear, worry, anxiety, and whatnot.
Exactly.
And yeah. And so I went to sleep. And then when I woke, I got called. I got a call so it was around 12 a.m. I got a call at 2:36 in the morning to tell me that, and it was a police officer. And the police officer was like, hey, are you Deborah? And I was like, yeah. I had no idea what this could be about. I was like, why is a police officer calling me at this time of night?
Yeah.
And it was then when he told me that, you know, well, we're here at your father's apartment. We found him dead.
Oh,
basically.
wow. I'm sorry.
My God,
sorry that
I'm so
happened.
sorry.
Man.
It's okay. Like, I mean, thank you. But to me, that really struck me because I couldn't get it out of my mind why I woke up worried about my father the night that he died. There's way too much coincidence for me to say, oh, this is nothing. So I think that kind of just piqued my curiosity. And then what ended up happening was 3 months later, I moved to the Dominican Republic. So at the time, I was actually in a PhD program, and I moved to the Dominican Republic. I was going to do my field work in the Dominican Republic. And then the whole point was to do my field work for a few months, you know, collect the data, analyze it, and then write my dissertation, because I was almost at my last year. I think it was my 4th year. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this and everything's going to be fine. But when I got to the Dominican Republic, things I feel like really started to change for me. I started to experience things that I could not explain. I felt like I had sensations. More intuition, like more intuitive, like promptings of things.
Wow.
And then I think that was a really important part of my story is my friend, who at the time, she and I were friends. Like we were college friends, but we weren't close friends. Like it was one of those friends like you met in college, and then every now and then you get together and you're like, hey, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It was one of those type of friends. Yeah, like I only got together with her maybe once every few years. So what was interesting was she started going through issues with an ex of hers, and I was having issues with an ex of mine. So we started to the whole thing, like misery loves company.
It's time for a commercial break. We'll be right back. Are you ready to step into the shadows? Welcome to Strange Darkness Radio, where the supernatural isn't just a mystery, it's our obsession. Join Bobby Washington, Amy Tydeman, and Carolyn Grey as they journey into the unknown, uncovering chilling tales of haunted houses, UFOs, and creatures lurking in the dark. We explore the eerie corners of reality that most fear to tread. Broadcasting on iHeartRadio, Strange Darkness Radio invites you to become part of a growing community that thrives on the strange and unexplained. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, our spine-tingling stories and intriguing insights will haunt your thoughts long after the episode ends. Don't just listen, dare to immerse yourself in the darkness. Subscribe now on iHeartRadio, follow us on Instagram at Strange Darkness Radio, and share your own encounters with the paranormal at 916-7413032. Strange Darkness Radio. Are you brave enough to tune in?
Oh my God. She came into medium abilities around that time. And at first I was skeptical because, again, I'm not really believing. I'm a little bit more open to this, but I'm still not a believer. And she's like, hey, and one of these times that we're talking, she's like, I want you to know that your dad's coming through. And I was like, my dad's coming through. And she's like, yeah. And I said, okay. I hadn't told her a lot of details about what happened to my father. And she didn't really know a lot of details about my father because we weren't that close of friends. It's not like we grew up together or anything like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Started telling me things that she could not have known about my dad, right? And I was just like, oh, this is interesting. So I kind of kept going with the flow, even talking about a few attributes of my father, how she like personality and stuff and energy of him. And I was just like, yeah. And then what really sealed the deal for me was she said, what is the number? He keeps flashing 236, 236, 236. And I was like, what the hell? And just like, I stopped. Like, I had no words for that because that was way too specific. She asked me, she's like, what does that mean? Why does he keep flashing that number to me? And I was like, that's when I got the call to tell me that he passed.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that was the moment for me where I said, okay, like there's something here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go this way now. Like, I'm going to pivot. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to
open your mind.
Yeah. I'm going to pivot because this is way too freaky and too coincidental. Like, even as somebody, like, as a scientist, like as a researcher, you cannot be stuck in what you've been taught.
Yes.
Because the whole point of science is to explore, is to examine. You understand?
Exactly.
Question everything, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I thought that I was like, if I don't do this, like, this is not real. Like, I'm not doing what I was taught to do, which is science, which is, you understand, examine and experiment. So I was like, I'm going to explore this. So I did. And well, now 8 years later, I had a bunch of experiences too, which then only just affirmed and confirmed things for me. And then like 8 years later, I just like, now I'm here and I decided to do this about a year ago?
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Oh, just that recent.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. Go ahead.
Can I ask what you don't have to share if you don't want to, but can I ask what you were getting your doctorate in? What field?
Yeah. I was getting my doctorates in environmental science and policy. And now I have a master's in environmental science and policy, or ecosystem science and policy, but I do not use it. So I do this. But yeah.
So Deborah, I had a couple questions. So at the time when, you woke up with that feeling about your father, did anyone else in your family have that same experience, or was that just you?
It was just me. And my sister was in the room with me. So it was really interesting that she didn't get it. It was just me.
Were you closer to, or I'm sorry, did you just say this? Were you closer to your father or?
Not really. I mean, I think my sister and I are equally as close to him. But he did tend to like go more toward my sister for something, because my sister, she has type 1 diabetes. So like he always saw her as like the one who needed more help. She's sick. So, and she's younger than me. So he always sort of like, you know, coddled her a little bit.
Totally understandable. Yeah.
So me, I was always the one, like he knew I was more independent. He knew I could take care of myself. Like he knew I was like on the road to success, like all that. So like he didn't really worry about me too much in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. So did you know your friend had these abilities prior to your friend who gave you the information? And, you know, did you know she was capable of doing that?
She didn't even know she was capable of doing that.
Yeah, because you said she came into those abilities like when you knew her. But so with your dad, was that the first time she started experiencing, or were there other situations that happened first with her?
With her, yeah, no, with her was actually, she started with her, it was an ex of hers. So not her ex actually, but the parents of her ex that started coming through to her. And that's how she started. She's like, I don't know what this means. This is what I'm getting. I'm going to follow. And she just started following it. She was really, really good. I feel like if she actually, because she stopped doing it because she said that, and I understand now what she meant, because I've also come into medium abilities. So I'm just like, oh, this is what she was talking about. But anyway, that's for later. But the point is that she said, like, you know, once you start this and you get into this realm, like it can be very, very taxing and time consuming. So she, you know, at the time was going through essentially like a divorce, because it was the father of her children. So they were breaking up and everything, and there was a lot of drama there. And she was experiencing all these things, and she had work too. Like she's like the second in command of her job. And so it was just way too stressful for her. And she just decided to like close that channel up. But she still from time to time gets like, you know, impressions and things like that. And she'll tell me, but she's not full blown medium. She didn't take that route. She said it was just too much for her.
Wow. So it's very interesting that you both had an awakening kind of around the same time, you know.
We talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely something we share, and we'll touch upon it every now and then. Now we're like best friends. So like, just like
it brought you together.
Yeah.
Closer.
So I'm curious. Oh, go ahead, Carolyn.
There you go.
Oh, I was just curious, like, so since then, do you continue to have communication with your dad or other experiences to let you know that he's trying to, you know, send you messages or anything like that?
So now I don't really have that sort of feeling anymore. In the beginning, it was like that a lot. Like I really did feel him a lot. Like I would smell him. I would feel his presence, like think about things. Like I had a lot of like signs, you understand, that indicated to me that he was around. And I came to a conclusion years later, and like it finally hit me, like it dawned on me why he was with me. And I realized it was because he didn't want me to take the same road he did. So it's like upon his transition to the other side, he was like, I can't have my daughter, who is an atheist like me, make the same mistake of not believing.
Yeah.
And so that's the message I got from him. The message was, don't be like me. Believe. There is more to this. And so I was like, okay, which again, it took me a while to get there. But once I got there, I was like, okay, like I'm going to do it. Like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to go full in. And then I did, because now this is what I do.
And now he knows that you're on the right path. And so he has been able to kind of back off and go do his thing wherever he is.
He's my sister now.
Oh. Yeah. So he's watching over her.
Oh.
Yeah, he's with her. So he's with her almost all the time now.
Wow. Do you see him around her? Like when you, like, how do you know that?
I actually communicate. Yeah. So now I communicate, but like before I had no idea. This was only like, to be very, very frank and like just like upfront, like I came into my medium abilities like full on just a month ago. Like it's not something that I've been doing. Like my spiritual journey, this whole paranormal experience of mine has been 8 years, but only for the last month have I been able to really communicate with the other side. The only other way I could communicate with the other side was through tarot, which I'm a tarot reader. And I could,
cool.
with the tarot, I was able to, obtain like information from the other side, from like specific beings that I wanted to communicate with, like my dad, like other loved ones. But it's not like they came to me like they do now with like information, like knowledge.
So what does that look like when they come to you and communicate? Like, are you meditating and you get visions, or are you hearing things? Like, I'm curious what that experience is like for you.
Okay, I can't speak for other people because I know that everybody, when you have medium abilities, everybody's is different. There's different types of gifts. And a lot of mediums, and the ones that, are popularized on TV and stuff, are the clairvoyants. I'm not clairvoyant. So it's not like I see things. I don't see anything. I very, very seldom do I see something. Like, I know I have the option to become clairvoyant if I want to. But I definitely do block myself out from seeing things because I have seen things. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to continue seeing stuff. Like, it's just like something I'm just like, it's not for me. I don't know if this is for me. But for me personally, I am clairsentient. And so I feel things, and I am clairaudient. So I hear things. So when messages come through to me, it is a word. Like I'll hear a word, or I'll feel like a sensation within me that will like either translate to a word, or like translate to an emotion, or something. Like, it is a weird situation, but it's not like I'm seeing things. Like, very seldom they give me images. So that's how it comes into me. And I have to ask a lot of yes or no questions. So like, for me, like when I'm like connected, it's like very like, is it this? Is it that? Like, is this what you're trying to tell me? Or
I noticed that on some other interviews I've seen with you when you were receiving messages, and you're kind of asking, is it this? No.
Yeah.
This? No. So.
I that because I have to clarify. I'm new at this. I don't know how this is going to develop. I may become like, the next Tyler Henry. Like, who knows? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, like,
No, but that's cool.
Yeah. But,
like, you're honest. It's not like you're just spitting out whatever, just saying things. You're really concentrating, and you're really trying to get the answers. So your friend kind of got you into this stuff when she was sharing messages from your father. Can I ask, how did you start your journey into your mediumship? How did you kind of develop your abilities?
Oh, I wish I kind of knew. Like, okay, this is what I can tell you. As a researcher, one of the things that I love to do is learn. Like, I am just one of these like lifelong curious humans, and like lifelong learners. And I'm also an educator because of that, right? Like, I love to learn, and I love to teach what I learn. When I decided to get into the paranormal or the spiritual, because for me, it's the same, like there really isn't much of a distinction. But when I started to get into this, I decided to go full in, right? Like, it didn't happen all at once, obviously, but I definitely decided to dedicate myself to it. And the more that I dedicated myself to it, the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, sort of thing. And so one of the things that I started to practice was a lot of what people would term spirituality. Basically, learning how to let go of certain emotions and patterns of thinking and reactions and triggers. And as you do that, and as you transform yourself, you get on a higher vibration. And so I think for me, how it came into it is slowly but surely I started to release a lot of the preconceived notions I had about our reality. about what this world is supposed to look like, what this world is supposed to, how we're supposed to respond to this world or how it responds to us, what is true and what is not true. I think I really just started to deconstruct all of that. And I got to a point where I was very, very open to receiving. Like, I just became an open, like, I'm ready for this. Like, I'm ready for the next step. Like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that looks like. But I was very set on, I want to help people. I want to let people know that this is real. They don't have to be afraid. And I think as I practiced my own, like, with also developing my intuition, and then challenging myself to explore other parts of the paranormal. So this basically started one day. I just decided to buy dowsing rods, because why not? Like, I saw some girl using dowsing rods online and I was like, that looks cool. I haven't tried that. I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then it kind of just opened me up to like this medium situation that now I'm doing. And yeah, and now I don't know if I want to go back to medium, because it's really cool. It's also really scary sometimes, but it's really cool.
In your opinion, sorry, Amy, your opinion, is this something that anyone can do? Because we all have like a level of intuition, right? So in your opinion, is this something anyone can learn to do? Or do you think that you were already kind of more intuitive than most people? And nope. So you... I was a zombie like most of the world. You understand? I did not believe in anything. If I, in 8 years, went from believing in zero things to now channeling spirits, like, I think anybody can do this. Like, I'm not like chosen or anything like that. I just decided to believe and explore that belief system.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question too, actually, Carolyn, because I feel that is a gift. People that have these abilities, I feel like they are blessed, and I would love if I could do some of these or all of these things, actually, speak to people from the other side and communicate. And yeah, I was just kind of wondering, how do people, like, if it doesn't come to you, but you want it to come to you, like, I'm just curious, like, what can I maybe do to kind of start developing some of that and be more in tune with these kinds of things?
So there's those who are born with everybody's born with these gifts. Like, I'm just going to start with that. What happens is that as we grow and as we are conditioned by our parents and our society, we start to lose it. We suppress it because obviously it's not welcomed in our society. And there's a lot of conflicting belief systems and everything like that out there. So what happens is that we have it, but we don't practice it. We don't develop it. Those that are more intuitive people, like, the mediums that have had this like all their lives or stuff, those people, if you listen to their stories, they've had somebody foster them at some point or like believe in them. Do you understand? And then they believe themselves too. Yeah. And so they were able to develop it as they got older, and they just kind of went with these feelings because, they were exposed to it. And not only that, they just had like help. Those of us like me that kind of lose it, like we don't practice it. We're told that it's not real. We don't remember having it, like, because we were kids or like, whatever. You get hints all throughout your life of these abilities by some sort of intuitive knowing, something that you saw, something that happened to you. Whether or not you choose to believe that is up to you, right? Because we have free will. If you don't lean into those paranormal, unexplainable things that happen to you, you're not going to understand or know where that's going to take you and what a gift and ability you can develop from that. And then it's a gift. But again, now that we don't have it, what happens is we have to work for it. And we have, like, it's almost like, to a certain extent, you almost have to prove yourself to be worthy of it.
Mhm.
You know, like,
Yeah.
can you,
agree.
do you really deserve this? Like,
Yeah.
can you handle it? How much do you want it?
Right.
And so it's work. And I think that a lot of people just in this day and age don't really have the time to work for it, or even like the support that they need to work for it.
And also, do you think it's a point of letting yourself go, letting yourself believe the unbelievable without having that doubt? You know, when you talk about religion is based upon faith. That's everything. You know, letting yourself go of what you're taking
Right.
in and what you're putting out, society puts in front of you. And there are religions that you're constrained on what you can do, what you can perceive, what you can't perceive. Whether you're Baptist, Catholic, and you're not supposed to talk to spirits. You're not, all these different religions that say you're not supposed to do all these particular things. When your great aunt who passed away has been trying to contact you and keeps dropping dishes off the sink, and you're like, what? Why is this thing? This spoon keeps falling.
It's a demon and you're blessing, and it's just your relative trying to get a hold of you.
Exactly. And that's just so interesting to me that if a lot of people would really let themselves go and really trust in what they're feeling and seeing, we have these abilities for a reason, as far as when you're feeling fear, how your body tingles, how there's a sensation like, something, you're in a heightened state, just like an animal. And a lot of the times we push that away. We push it away. And so that I believe it's awesome that you're doing all this. So your dad was your first true experience?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
He was not my first true experience. He was just the experience that made me say, okay, I'm going to pay attention now.
Got it. Interesting.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I had seen a bunch of thunder before.
So I'm really, and Bobby, if this is too soon to move on, just let me know. But I really wanted to make sure we covered. So I know you said you practice witchcraft and you craft spells. And can we move into that now, Bobby?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Let me ask this one question. Real quick. So, out of all the religions, out of what happened with you with your dad to motivate you to really start looking into things, how did you not fall into Catholic? How did you not fall into various different religions and go into this whole different phase that you're in? How did you jump over that hurdle?
Honestly, I think it was a class that I took in humanities in my undergrad. And the guy was an amazing teacher. I don't know if it was like divine intervention that made me have that teacher, but like he made us read 2 books that for me were just like, this makes sense. And one book was called The Power of Myth. And it was an interview by Bill Moyers and Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell was a comparative mythologist. And his work, I think, really inspired me to understand that all religions are the same to a certain degree. Like there is not one religion out there that is super distinct from the other one. It's just different iterations of the same stories. And so when I realized that it's all the same, I realized that A, all religions are valid, and B, none is truer than the other.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what I practice or what faith I choose to practice, as long as I do the good things, like I'm okay. And so what I started doing is I'm like, well, then what is it that most religions have in common? What are the good things that most religions have in common? Like, what is the overarching umbrella of these things? And I started just paying attention to that. But I didn't fall into any religion because I realized that it's all the same crap.
I like that.
Exactly. It's all the same crap.
Point blank.
Yeah. I mean,
I love that.
There is a God. One religion has many gods. Others have one God. I mean, it doesn't matter. God is God is God is God. You can have 100 gods. You can have one God. It doesn't, as long as you do well and you you're a good person.
That is so amazing because it locks so many people down. It stifles them. It stops their progress and their process as becoming better humans. And I love that you said that. That's amazing.
Well, and they compare themselves to other people like, oh, I'm better than this person because I have the answer and I need to guide this person or it's no one's better than anyone else. It's all just how you treat people and being a good person, like you said.
Yeah.
Your religion doesn't make you better than someone or righter than someone.
No, absolutely not. And then another thing that I understood too is like we're all at different stages in our lives, and you can only understand what you can understand. You only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. You understand? So like everybody's just different. You just got to respect at the level they're at. They're only going to people are only going to understand you at their level of understanding. Do you understand?
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't put a kindergartner in a trig class because they're not ready for it. But one day they will be able to understand it. It's just they're not there yet.
Yeah, and then of course there's free will, right? So you can do whatever you want, basically. So
free will to religion is dangerous, which is an oddity. How is that even? Does that even make sense? That free will, that's crazy. If you really think about it, God gave you free will, if that's what you believe, and free will as we have it and know it. People will discount that and say, no, you have to live by these particular set of rules. Which again, having certain rules, yeah, we understand that. That's a whole different thing. But we're talking about allowing you to explore and to just grow as a person and as an individual, as a spirit, and not be so subjective when it comes to the paranormal or just things that you cannot explain just because you can't see them. So
exactly.
So yeah. All right, Amy, you can. Sorry about that.
No.
I just wanted to cover that.
That was that made a lot of sense, and no, I appreciate you sharing about how you came to get into witchcraft. But I wanted to hear about how you craft spells and how does that work for when you do that for another person?
Oh, yeah. Amy wants to learn how to do spells. That's what that is.
I'm very fascinated by witchcraft and spells. And so I want to make sure we get to that before Deborah leaves us for the interview. No, that was very important that I find this out.
Nice.
Okay. Well, so first of all, I want to clarify what's a witch. A witch is anybody who basically practices or is honoring their spirits or their deities. Like that's it. Like you're a witch if you're into spirituality, you're practicing your spirituality and your beliefs, like you're honoring your beliefs along with your spirit guides and your deities. Like that is it. So essentially, this is how I think about it. Priests are witches. Nuns are witches. You understand? We just don't use the term witch because it's obviously the bad stigmatized stereotype word that it is. Yeah, it's a bad word. But witch is anybody who basically is practicing, is like exploring or studying religion or their belief or, I'm going to say anybody studying spirituality, whatever that looks like to you, but honors their spirit guides or deities and spirits. I'm going to say it like that. Anybody who is studying spirituality and honors spirits and deities, that is a witch. That's what I am. And that's why I call myself a witch. I don't read books on witchcraft. I've never read a book on witchcraft in my life. I've never read a book. I don't even know what that looks like. The most I've read is a book on, and even then I haven't even read the whole book, is a book on tarot. Like I've never read any other book. The only other religious book that I read, and the most religious book that I read, is probably the mythology book, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and a book on atheism, which is really a philosophy book. I have read religious texts, or maybe the like parts of the Bible and things like that. But like I don't. So when it comes to me being a witch, I'm a witch because I now am connected to my spirits and and that's who I honor right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to witchcraft, that's basically how I'm receiving information. I'm receiving information from my guides.
Mm-hmm.
And I craft a spell for other people. It's like I'm tapping into the collective, right? Like my guides are who allow me to tap into information from all over, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody wants a spell, I can tap it. Like I'm going to talk to that person, obviously. So let's say you, Amy, you want a spell to disconnect from an ex or something, right? Okay, cool. Well, now I understand what you want. We'll talk a little bit more about the situation, how you want to get there. And then I connect with my guides. And because every individual person has different energy and has different guides, your spell is going to be very unique and specific to you. Like I can't give you a spell, Amy, for you to disconnect from an ex and then give the same spell to Carolyn. It won't. It won't work. And so that's one common, a big misconception with witchcraft is that you can find a spell online and it's going to do all these magic wonders for you. And it's not. Like, it might help a little bit because certain tools are useful for these things. Like, if you use crystals or rosemary, incense and candle magic and all that stuff, like we understand the general use of these and what they're useful for, but it's not going to work specifically for you because you need to honor you and your energy and your team. And so by me connecting with me and my guides, I can help do that for you, because then it's like they have a communication system within that they can help us.
Like your guides can talk to their guides and let you know what they need.
Like exactly like that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
That's how I help craft spells. Like I tap in. I actually crafted a spell for a girl who I feel so bad for her. I feel bad for her because she played a game and she didn't know what she was getting herself into, and she got a really nasty attachment.
Oh, wow.
And I had to craft a spell for her to remove the attachment, but I didn't really know how bad it was until I started crafting the spell, and my guides were like, more time, she needs more time. And I was like, what? Like, how long does she have to do this for? She has to do it for 5 weeks. I was like,
wow.
What? And that's what I mean. Like I did a craft. I also helped her friend, and her friend only needed to do it for, I think, a week or two.
Wow.
But that's because they had different attachments and they had different and just like a lot of things. But like, this is the problem. People don't understand that. And you're going to go online, you're going to find a spell or whatever, and you might be probably even tapping into some dark stuff and you won't even know it. I mean, this is what those girls were doing. They tapped into a really dark game and they didn't know what they were turning. They did not know what they were getting themselves into, and they got into some nasty stuff.
Is it common for people to have attachments?
Yes.
Wow. And they don't even know it. Like, is that a thing?
Like maybe they had those attachments, and that then by playing whatever, I'm assuming it was a Ouija board they were playing with.
Well, it's actually it's a game I have never.
Look at the concern on Carolyn's face, though.
It's a game. No, sorry.
Well, nothing. But I mean,
she's a Ouija practitioner.
I wanted to play with my Ouija board last night with my roommate, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I cannot find it. So I wonder if that's a sign.
You left it at the other house.
I was just going to say that. I'm getting. Don't touch it.
Really?
Wait, you just got like a message?
Yeah.
Telling Carol. Oh my god.
Okay, now I'm scared.
Who gave that message though? So one of her guides?
My guides.
Oh, your guide. Oh.
Can I ask you?
There is a connection right now between all your guides and me and my guides.
Oh,
right.
Nice.
Because we're talking.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Is there a reason? So, because I used to play with it at my old place and then my place before that, not often or anything, just every once in a while I would whip it out. But yesterday I've been really wanting to play in my new apartment because I do feel like there's something here. And so there was a thunder and lightning storm last night, and me and my roommate were like, this is the perfect time, let's do it. And I couldn't find it anywhere. And I know I packed it in my backpack and I cannot find it. It's so weird.
They don't want you to find it.
That's so weird. Okay.
Now, should you not at all ever play with the Ouija board? Or is it something that if you know what you're doing, you...
Yeah, like, was it just last night, or should I never touch it again?
Should she ever touch it again? No.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
I kind of want to do it more now.
You know what? Carolyn is
really
crazy.
Wants to see something.
She is, she's one of those people that she's going to need a year if she gets an attachment to get it off of her. Only because things happen to her. It's not like things don't happen, but she doesn't believe them when they do. The most simplest things that you're like, okay, that is strange. That's not common or normal. But she will brush it off as, no, don't even think about it. Once it happened, I thought about it for, 2 seconds. And after that, I was done, back to whatever she's doing. And
wait, Carol. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so Carol, does this mean you're going to try it then again, even after receiving
an attachment, you guys?
Why?
No, I'm just kidding.
Like what? You might already have
I feel
one.
Like Deborah's getting more. I feel like
I'm actually getting interference. So there is an entity that's actually attached to me right now. So I'm trying to
coming from who? Can we specify? I'm pure of light. No, I'm just joking. But coming from who? Like, who's this coming from? Do you know? Deborah?
No, I don't know who it is or what it is. So when you open yourself up to these things, there's a lot of protective measures that you need to take. And again, I'm only a month in. So a lot of the protective measures that I need to be taken, I haven't taken yet because I'm just coming into all this stuff. So I've done some protective stuff, but things trickled in. And so what happens is that I'll get entities either that want my help. So they ask for my help, to continue to transition. But then I get entities that like to be mischievous and they like to mimic my guides.
Wow.
And so I have a mimic now.
Oh, crap.
Wow.
Do you think it's because of the question I asked about the Ouija board?
I've had it for a couple of days now. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Nothing to do with you. It has just more to do with me and being open to this stuff and things, again, just being attracted and wanting to just mess around because that's what they do.
Yeah. Have you sought out a medium who's already have these abilities other than your friend to guide you or help you along the way?
I actually just spoke to one this week, and I'm going to hopefully have a meeting with him sometime, maybe next week or the week after, and I'm going to talk to him.
Yeah. Because I can give you Mark, the psychic attorney's info if you need that, because he's really good. He's been doing this.
I'll talk to him. Yeah, we'll get in touch with him too.
Yeah, he's been doing this for decades, and he's been on everything. But
that's actually a really good question, though, because you should have some kind of a mentor or something. How therapists usually have their own therapist.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your belief, Deborah, do you believe in reincarnation? Do you believe in living multiple lives and all those things?
Oh, yeah. I mean, funny enough, I didn't know what I believed in maybe a month ago about reincarnation.
Okay.
But now that I've have access to a lot of information, I've been asking a lot. I'm a very curious human. And so I ask a lot of questions and I get confirmations of stuff all the time. And I realize that yes, reincarnation exists. The idea that we are eternal souls is real. And I'm sure a lot of us have been here multiple times and we just don't know it. And not just one lifetime. I'm talking about eons and eons of lifetimes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's incredible.
And now that you do believe in these things, you believe in God, you believe in reincarnation, you believe in spiritual stuff, are you finding that you're actually kind of able to make it make logical sense as well? It makes scientific sense when you really think about it. Right?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of this stuff is already being proven and shown evidence. There's evidence for in science, most of it in physics and quantum mechanics. So it's a lot of stuff that we don't understand because, again, physics and quantum mechanics are very mathematical. But it's there. And then there's obviously studies like, Dr. Masaru Emoto's like water consciousness studies, which is like an amazing study on just like the consciousness of water and like how is that thing. There's the studies on the trees and how trees have a communication system and they speak to each other and they're living beings and conscious beings, things like that. There's God, what are they doing? I think it's ions. I think it's the research institute called IONS, and they're doing studies on the effects of technology and consciousness, or consciousness on technology. And so, like, there is definitely a lot of evidence and papers out there that is real research that's being done and published. But who goes on Google Scholar other than me and like research and reads papers like this? Like, let's find like. I tend to do that every now and then. I try to look up like actual evidence for these things and a lot of stuff that they've been saying for years and, things that we've ignored is real, so yeah, I do find that it is very logical.
Yeah, that's just amazing. I know your time is like limited when it comes into all the things that you do.
Good.
Okay. But I wasn't talking about the show, but I'm talking about your life. I mean, because when you start going down rabbit holes, there's a lot that it takes a lot. I mean, there's a lot that goes on with that, and it can take up a lot of time and a lot of, doing a lot of research. So, because when I initially talked to you, I was like, okay, let me check out her podcast. It's like, well, you're like, oh, no, I don't really have a podcast. I'm like, well, why not? I mean, like, because one, it's just a good one. Yeah, the information that you have, I mean, you could just talk, forever and put out all this content, which would be amazing and so needed for people. And but yeah, you definitely got to. I know you've been on Dairyland, and we've had him on. He's been on our show, and he's incredible. And you're kind of a recurring guest on that show. And but yeah, you definitely need to have your own podcast just to get all this information out.
What you should do, Deborah? Have a live show and callers call in and ask you questions, and you tap into your guides and you answer their questions. I mean, you would be so amazingly popular. I mean, I would be calling into that show nonstop and asking you all kinds of questions.
Exactly. Put it behind a paywall.
It's funny you guys start talking about that because my next step is YouTube. So nice. I'm already developing something for YouTube. So hopefully like within the next month or sooner, like I have a YouTube channel, but I haven't launched anything crazy on it because again, like you said, Bobby, like it's just been a lot of time. And I work from home. I have a 4-year-old. I got a husband who also takes needs a lot of attention.
Oh, that's understandable. I agree with him.
So it's a stuff that I am doing, but now what you said, Bobby, about like having my own podcast, what I'm going to do is I already tried the podcasting. I had a podcast last year with a friend of mine. It was kind of spiritual related. It wasn't about like the paranormal because she's not really into that.
Yeah.
But it was more about like spirituality and like growth and things like that. It's called The Feminine Gathering. If anybody wants to check it out.
Yeah. Check it out, everyone.
Yeah. There's 10 episodes. They're pretty short. They're under an hour. And we just talk like spiritual concepts about growth and like development and self-development and things like that. So I did that for her for about a year. Actually we were together for 2 years doing that. And then we finally put out the 10 episodes. But I realized like doing all that, I was just like, I don't want to do this. Like this is not for me.
Yeah.
I love the video aspect. I think that's what I really like. I feel like the video aspect is a lot more personal and you can really touch people a little more with your face and like the interactions, and like the YouTube is very, for me, like it's very compelling because it's long form content, and I'm really having trouble with Instagram and TikTok with the shorter form because there's a lot of it's a lot of competition, and so I want to be a resource for people, and I feel like YouTube is like a search engine. So if you want to search specific information, like you can go on YouTube and look up a video that shows you or teaches you about like that certain information. So that's where I want to go because I want to be somebody that you go to as a resource for information regarding the paranormal or spirituality.
Yes, but not only as a resource, but as authentic and real. See, that's the key, especially when it comes to Instagram. You're not doing it for clicks, likes, and for
I really want to help.
I do. Yeah, I think that it's very important to, like, just in general, is to be authentic. And as a matter of fact, authenticity is a higher frequency than love. So the highest frequency you can be on is authenticity. And then just below that is love. So why not? Like, if I can just be vibing high all the time and helping people like achieve and understand, then yeah, that's what I'm here for.
I think it'd be so cool too to get your perspective on things as like a science background, science major.
Yeah.
And being able to kind of bring science and spirituality together on a platform. That would be so cool.
Yes.
I try to do that sometimes too. It's not as popular as like just regular like witchy paranormal stuff, but I definitely do try. And also, I'm constantly learning things. So I also understand that this information can be updated and evolve too. So,
So what are your thoughts on ghosts and spirits?
That's a very broad question. What do you mean?
Do you believe that ghosts are people, dead people, in the sense of they're not able to pass on to, whether it's to be reincarnated, whether who knows where we actually go, which you might know where we go, but, or are they just stuck, or they're, they want to be with a loved one or in a situation to where, I love the Yankees, so I'm going to sit on this bleacher, even though I passed and I'm not going to move, but I'm going to push the popcorn over because I'm going to watch this game. What do you think all that is?
So for me, ghosts, I think in its simplest form is conscious energy. Mm-hmm. And so how that manifests is going to be different for the ghost and the experiencer. So, for instance, a lot of times you hear a lot of ghost stories about loved ones who have passed and people feeling their loved ones. That's a very common ghost phenomena, right? And that's because typically when we die, it's not like we transition and everything that we stopped worrying about and everything is done. That doesn't work that way. As a matter of fact, when you die, everything that you still feel, the resentment, the anger, the hurt, the pain is going to continue through.
Interesting.
And so what ends up happening is that ghosts, right, kind of try to seek help from individuals. They're going to like try to seek out the help, and they're going to try to help individuals, because what happens is that on the other side, you can go two ways. You're going to either go toward the higher up, toward levels of angels. Like you can keep ascending, like you're going to transition. And then from there, you have to work to do. You don't just die and float into space and do nothing.
Yeah.
You have work to do. Your work involves you first, like your soul, your essence. You have to lighten your load. You have to ascend. Or you don't, and you descend. So when you descend, you're going level demon. When you ascend, you go level angel.
Interesting.
So you go either way. Now, what happens with ghosts is that oftentimes, most of the times, we hear the ghosts that are like, have unfinished business. It's not necessarily unfinished business. It's just that they need to release the things that are holding them back from ascending. Or then they're going to start to descend. And a lot of times they don't want to.
Yeah.
But, things happen. You get in with the wrong crowd, even on the other side. And, whatever. So I actually have, funny enough, a being, a spirit, a ghost, I guess we can call it, that communicated with me. And he happens to be the brother of my sister, like a friend of my sister's. And he's descended. Oh. He's going down the demon route. But he doesn't want to. It's like he realized there's a way to be helped. And he kind of like, can you help me? And I was like, I can't help you unless your sisters
Mm-hmm.
talk to me.
Oh,
So that's the only way I can help a ghost or a spirit
yeah.
help themselves to ascend. And that's essentially what ghosts are, basically spiritual energy that is conscious, and then they just happen to manifest. And people with certain gifts are like, in certain times, certain places, you're just going to feel that energy. So ghosts are just energy, that they conscious energy that you feel, and they can have different stories or different needs and different stuff.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. You just answered so many questions for me because no, really, because when you see like shadow people or like people with hauntings, like severe hauntings or just bad energy, it's never like Casper the Friendly Ghost. You don't hear of like happy ghosts. I mean, sometimes you do. Maybe it's like a relative visiting or something, but it makes perfect sense that if you die and you have all these resentments and all this anger, and that's kind of like a common thing, right? I mean, that's why like asylums are haunted, jails are haunted, because the energy there was so negative, so angry, resentful, bad, whatever. And then they descend and become kind of more resentful, more angry. And it's like you said, you have to lighten your load and kind of release that. And then it also makes sense with the ghost, the brother of your friend, because he's contacting you for help, but you're not the one that can help him. You're not, whatever he needs, if it's like forgiveness or he needs to pass along a message, it's not for you, it's from the sisters. And so you're not the one that can relieve him of that. That's so interesting. And it makes perfect sense.
Were you able to talk to the sisters about their brother?
The message has been sent, and I just have to wait until I get contacted. I can't push these things.
Yeah.
And they might not believe in that stuff, and they might not be receptive.
Right. It's when they're ready.
Right.
Interesting.
Wow, that's so interesting.
So are you making any connections with this group as far as any loved one or any besides Carolyn's Ouija situation?
Ouija board ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right when we started, I had 2 entities come in for Amy and one for Carolyn. And the thing is, like, again, because I have some of the interference going on, there's like, I can try, but like, I just don't know how much information I'm going to get because I have this unfriendly, like, trickster, stupid thing going on where like it tries to mimic things. And actually has already interfered in 2 medium readings that I've had this week.
Wow.
So, and thank God I do medium readings right now for free, which by the way, I'm doing medium readings for free right now. So if you do want to do a medium reading with me, I can do it for free. But the reason that I'm doing it for free is because I'm still having the interference sometimes from certain entities. And that's basically what's happening. But I definitely had 2 people for Amy and 1 for Carolyn. Anybody for Bobby? Are you no, hold on. I'm getting it again. Anyone for Bobby? Yeah. 1, 2 for Bobby. So there's 2 for Bobby, 2 for Amy, 1 for Carolyn. Okay. So
I just got chills.
Would you be willing?
I know.
Would you be willing to do kind of a short, no pressure reading for one of us right now, or?
Yeah, so I don't mind doing it. I think what would be good is also if you ask questions, because then that way I can like channel maybe even my guides and not necessarily your loved one, because if I try to channel your loved one now, I might get interference.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I can answer certain questions, and let me just make sure that I have a way of determining who I'm speaking to. So like, I'm okay with that. But let me see. Who do you want to do it, Carolyn? Do you want to do it, Amy, Bobby? Who is it?
I was going to ask Amy if she wants to ask some questions.
Me?
Yes, go for it. Come on, Amy.
Do I just ask anything? Like come up with anything to ask them?
Yeah, so what I can do, let me first see who I'm speaking to. So okay. Hold on. I think I'm getting interference. If you see my head move, it's not me. My head will move when I get like I'm channeling. So it's basically I am channeling. So however it moves or whatever, it's because I'm channeling. If you see like little like weird things, it's channeling.
Not a tip.
I just saw
Because
an orb float in by me, so that was
No
interesting.
way.
nice.
Oh my gosh.
What?
All right, so let me ask. I'm gonna do it out loud, that way we can like see if we can help. So who am I speaking to? Is it my guides? Are you the entity? Okay. I rebuke you. Yeah, you're the entity. So I need my guides or Amy's loved one to come in. Are you my guides? Are you the entity? Are you Amy's loved one? Okay. Are you lying? They can't lie. If they lie, they disappear, by the way.
Oh, wow.
So am I connected with Amy's loved one? Are you lying? Okay. Are you male? Are you female? All right, Amy, you have a female coming through. You can ask questions.
Okay, I don't know if this is like a right question to ask it.
Yes or
So,
no?
am I going down the right path in my life?
Are you Amy's loved one? Watch out, Amy. Hold on. I need Amy's loved one to come back through. Okay. Are you Amy's loved one? Are you lying? Is she on the right path? Yes.
Okay, that's really all I can think to ask. I don't know if somebody else wants to take advantage of this. Like, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. I don't want to hog it for anyone else. Like, who else? Maybe somebody else wants to ask.
Do you mind if I go, Bobby?
Oh no, for sure, definitely.
So I know that you have a lot going on as far as all of our loved ones and then your interference. So I maybe this isn't going to work right now, but I did have a relative pass very recently, and this person was in another country from me, and so I wondered if that's the person that's coming through for you, and if I could communicate with that person.
Okay, let me ask. For Carolyn, is Carolyn's loved one here? Not you, entity. I need you to leave. Is Carolyn's entity here? Yes. Are you lying? No. Did you pass in another country? Yes. Are you a male? No. Is it a female?
Mm-mm.
All right, so I might be getting an interference. Sorry. Are you a female? No, I'm getting a no. Are you the entity? Yes. All right, sorry, Carolyn. Let's try again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is Carolyn's entity here? No. I rebuke you. Yeah. Okay. So I have the entity that's coming in. Let me try one more time. I need Carolyn's entity to come through, please. Please come through. Are you Carolyn? Are you here for Carolyn? Are you the entity? I need you to leave. No. All right. It doesn't want to go. I need you to leave. Now. No, girl. This thing is being stubborn.
I wonder if it's because of my Ouija board question earlier that it's specifically blocking me. Yeah. That's okay.
When you asked that question, I had to override the entity.
Yeah.
When you asked that question again. So I'm just letting you know it could be because of that. It could be because you're also more vulnerable too at this point, because you said it was recent. So, and yeah. Yes, I'm getting a yes. Are you my guides? Are you the entity? Thank you. Yeah. So obviously this thing is just gonna want to have fun with the fact that you're probably grieving or like,
oh, yeah.
So we're not gonna do it with you because I don't want to give wrong information. Wow.
Okay. That's okay.
Okay.
That is extremely interesting. And I just want to say, when you first started, when we were initially talking about it, I saw an orb. It looked like it wasn't even clear. It wasn't like it was dust or anything, because it had an orb shape to it, which usually see it in a reflection to where it's kind of like blown out and it has like fuzz or whatever around it. So I'm seeing it at the corner of my eye as I'm looking at this just fly, across the light. I'm like, okay, what the heck? And then to top it off, once you started, one of my cameras, my Elgato machine, just started going haywire. I sent the girls it in a text on the video. That's why I was shooting. So, if we put this video on YouTube, you will see me holding up my camera. That's just actually because I'm capturing the Elgato machine going crazy as you're asking these questions.
So weird.
Yeah.
It is so weird. I just saw the video. Wow.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's incredible. But yeah, man, that is just so amazing.
That was fascinating, actually,
Yes.
seeing that, live.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how it is for now for me. It's just, again, I know that I have this entity with me. It's annoying. I'm trying to do everything to like get it out of here. It's gonna work eventually, because that's the other thing too that I've learned is that you can only do so much to remove an entity from you. It's gonna be you doing what you got to do, like the spells and the rituals and the stuff that you need to do, but it's also your spirit team. And to fully remove an entity, you can't do it yourself. You need your spirit team's guidance to like help you, which is why spells work, because it's basically words that you're uttering with intentions, and they're done in a specific way. And that's what is a spell. It's not like, some sort of hoodoo shit. It's like voodoo is real, by the way. And but like what I'm saying, it's like, it's not evil. So it's just like,
it's the intent behind it, right? It's your energy.
Yeah. And you have to do it in a specific way too, because you have to honor your guides. Like, you need to ask for them to help you. And there's a specific way to do it. Did something leave? Yeah. I just saw something leave. So like, that's the thing about this. So again, I'm trying my best. And again, I'm only a month in, like, I'm sure in like in a year, it'll be different. So
no, this is incredible. You're really talented. I mean, to even do this and not, following any particular teachings and, besides your spirit guides leading you into all of this, it's just remarkable. I mean, there's no words for it. It's incredible, and glad that you're actually putting this out there, to the world, and this energy and everything else. I want to say, because I noticed you used the word "I rebuke you."
Yes.
I don't really want to get into this, but the cop involved shooting that happened with
Yes.
yes. And so I'm pretty sure everyone's seen the shooting with the officer shooting the lady who had who was asked to move the pot of water
Yes.
off of the stove. But the minute that she said, because the one officer says, hey, I'm step back because you have hot water. I don't want, she's like, are you afraid? It seemed to me that she felt like some negativity come in her, her area or her spirit. And then so she says, I rebuke you. But the minute she says that cop turns into someone else or something else. And he immediately goes from 0 to 1,000 and, utters the word that he says, I will shoot you in your freaking face. Put that water down. And so just by him hearing that term, and, I've talked to various people in the Black community about this particular shooting. And we were discussing, we brought other races in because we're like, that is not a common word that a lot of white people know and what that means when you hear it. And we polled, at least 50 people, like, hey, what does this word mean? Other than who didn't know about the shooting. They didn't have a clue of what that term means. And in the Black community, we know what that term means. And a lot of ethnic communities, they know what that term means. And for that officer to just flip out hearing that term and then, taking, her life the way he did was just incredible. And that goes to all these attachments and demonic spirits that are walking the earth that we don't really realize that people need help, and it's just so for you to use that term, that's what, I had to just say that. It's, wow. Amazing.
Can I ask real quick, Bobby, because I don't know this story. Can you just do like a short overview of what happened? She was just holding a pot of water and he shot her?
What happened is they say she had mental issues, but she just called the police and she was like, hey, there's an intruder in my home. And then so the cops came, they were looking for the intruder. The cop who unfortunately took her life didn't have his cam on, but the other officer who arrived had his body cam on. So as they're looking for this intruder, they couldn't find the intruder. They enter into her house. She's sitting on the sofa. They asked her for her ID. And as she's trying to look for her ID, and she's like, I don't know exactly where it's at. There was a lot going on in her home. And they're over in the kitchen, there was a pot of water boiling. And then so the officer said, hey, we don't want to cause a fire. Can you take that pot of water off of the stove? Which she should have said, can you turn off the pot, the fire underneath the water? Because theoretically, there was probably no water even in there because it was hot. That heat, it was way up. And so as she grabs the pot and just moves it over, as she slides over to the sink and she's about to put it in the sink, the one officer, not the one who shot her, but the one with the body cam on, he says, he moves back. And then she says, what are you doing? He says, I'm stepping back. I don't want, to get any water on me. And he says some phrase like that, and he steps back. And then, so that's when she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, is what she says. And as soon as she says that term, this other officer grabs his firearm, points it at her, and says, I will shoot you in the effing face. And she's like, she kind of froze for a second, and then then he moves forward. She says, I'm sorry. She drops to her knees, and she says, I'm sorry. She doesn't have the pot in her hand at the time. She drops to her knees, and I believe she might have tried to reach up or just, extend her hand up. because there's a lot of different video of different angles. People are saying she tried to re-grab the pot again to like protect herself or to do whatever, because I don't even believe there's any water in the pot. And he proceeds to shoot her 4 times in the face. And obviously, kills her. The partner says, it's not his partner. He was just there. I think he was another officer. He says, "Hey, let me get some help. Let me go get a kit." He's like, "No, there's no need to do that. She's dead. It was a headshot." And he says, "No, she's still breathing." And then he tries to go get the kit, and then he's trying to help. And then I believe the other officer tries to get his kit. By the time he comes back, he says, "No, she's gone." And the officer, again, does not have his body cam on, but he says to his lieutenants in his statement that she approached him to throw the water on him, which she didn't do any of that. Luckily, because he didn't have his body cam on, and he didn't know whether or not the other officer had his on, so he could tell whatever story he wanted to tell. So,
Right.
then obviously they looked at the other officer's body cam. He was immediately arrested and fired, and things are playing out in the courts the way they are. But I just found it interesting that she didn't say, "I'm going to throw this water on you." She didn't say, like, "F you," like, "Why are you even here?" She didn't flip out anything.
She wasn't being aggressive.
She was just
or
making
scaring
a
them.
statement that, like,
Wow.
ooh, like, and you even like felt it. I felt it off watching a video that's already been played out, and you just felt it like she was saying, like, when he made that comment and stepped back, she was like, "Okay, there's some negativity. Like, I'm rebuking whatever just happened, however this just turned. I am going to, rebuke this. I'm going to command you in the name of Jesus to stop or leave or do whatever." And that officer automatically went into just whatever. And I just believe there are people walking the earth that have an attachments or are possessed. And these demonic spirits do come out and present themselves, and in a negative way, So yeah, that's the story. But yeah, you can check it out. It's been all over the news.
Deborah, did you have any thoughts on that story? It seemed like you had heard it at least. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, she's
Sorry.
no worries. See, here we go. That's now we have now.
It's the entity.
It is. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, when I heard that story, I already kind of had a feeling, because it's like what Bobby said. When you use the term "I rebuke you," there is something very strong that you do not want around you, and it's not a term that you typically use for people. So for her to say that, for me, I understood it as she felt his energy. She probably knew that he had an attachment, because he did. And she was just like, "I'm not going to deal with this." She probably wasn't even really talking to him per se. She was more talking to the energy associated with him.
Exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then because he's probably already aggressive, because if he has an attachment, one of the reasons you can have an attachment is your own vibration, is your own energy. And so if he's like on the lower end of the vibes, and he's an aggressive person, and he's maybe abusive, or like, a high ego, whatever it is, then it could be that he's that attached, that entity that attached just sort of like triggered him too. Like it just like two forces just coming together and exploding when she said that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 3 years, he's had 6 different jobs as a police officer, and I've believe left before he was fired at each individual job. Just FYI.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Sorry to go down that whole thing, but that term, when you said it, and a lot of people hear it and don't truly know why, people are saying it and understand it. So yeah. Yep.
I understand.
Alrighty, let's talk about.
Wait,
Go ahead.
sorry.
Yes, no, you're good.
Am I lagging? Because I'm lagging on my side.
Yes, you are lagging. But it's fine. Not really here, but in the true podcasting realm. But you're lagging as far as visually and all that good stuff.
Wonderful.
But yeah, so because we've been going long, which again, this has been an incredible interview, and I thank you for your time, Deborah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about your website and what you do as far as, people who are out there who have stories to tell and want to have discussions, but don't feel comfortable having them with certain people, and you create a safe space for that to take place.
Yes. So it is very important for what I do that people understand that paranormal experiences are common. A lot of times we've been told that the paranormal is either not real or that it's not very common and that you're weird or crazy if you experience it, or that it's not logical and it's not scientific and all this other stuff that, society will have you believe. And I think it's very important for me to hold a space for people who have these experiences and believe in those, constructs, and understand that they're just that. They're constructs. They're not true. And what we have to do is understand that these experiences, what's really important about them isn't so much the evidence that these things exist or the science behind it and all that. What's most important about these experiences is the experience yourself and how you interpret the experience. And so what I do is help you understand and interpret your experience and accept it and learn how to live your life normally again, knowing that this stuff exists out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because most situations, you tell a doctor about this or someone hears about it, even a family member, and then you contact, your physician or your, medical doctor. They want to put you on something and oh no, you didn't really have that experience, or this is not really happening to you. Just take this medication and everything else. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What is this website?
Oh, so it's my website. It's www.paranormalparadigma.com.
Okay, cool. And do you have any other platforms that you're on? I know you said YouTube.
Yes.
Instagram.
So right now, YouTube hasn't launched officially. I do have a YouTube channel. You can come on and subscribe, so you can be one of the first people to get the content. And once I finally start putting it up, so that'd be great. But I haven't officially launched it yet, but I will be soon. So that's really exciting. But I do have Instagram right now. My Instagram is probably where I'm at the most. So Instagram, my handle is at Paranormal Paradigma. And my handle is pretty much the same anywhere. So YouTube is Paranormal Paradigma. TikTok, it's Paranormal Paradigma. The only thing is on Facebook, I have to use my name because they didn't let me do Paranormal Paradigma. So on Facebook, I'm Deborah Roque, but I do have a free support group that I kind of manage there. So you can join that. And all this is also on my link tree on my Instagram or on my TikTok. So you can just sort of browse the links and see what kind of calls to you and go on there. But yeah, on my website, I basically have the link for you to join a group session, which are free. And, it's just a bunch of people coming together and talking about their experiences and us kind of going through the stories and finding connection and trying to understand and be okay with our experiences. And then I also have the links to spellcraft. And I do spellcraft for, normal people. And then I also do spellcraft for people who consider themselves or who believe they are witches or are practicing witches, mediums, and psychics.
I would like to have my own reading with you. So I think I'm going to reach out.
Yes, we should do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's great that you're on this path and you're on this journey. And, it's like you've been saying you're only a month really into it. But I've seen other interviews where you were giving readings or whatever, and you were just on it. So I was actually really impressed for a month in. That's crazy.
For a month in, it is pretty crazy the things that I've experienced so far.
Yeah.
I have to ask, how is your husband taking all this?
My husband. That is such a good question. So I want to preface this by saying my husband is a believer. So I wouldn't be on this journey right now if it wasn't for my husband. He was probably the first person to, well, I guess essentially the second person, because my first person was my friend Priscilla, who is the medium. But the second person in my life to fully accept the fact that I was getting into the spiritual stuff, that I was, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it froze on my screen, so I just wasn't sure. So he was basically the second person to accept the fact that I was going down a spiritual road. He was the first person to say these things exist. And he was the first person to really start to support me when I said, I want to start reading tarot. I want to start like learning all this spiritual stuff. And he was like, go for it. Now, once I came into my medium abilities, he kind of took a step back.
Interesting.
Because for him, he was like, you were normal. He's like, you've been normal our whole relationship. And now you have these abilities. And I don't know. Like he's kind of weirded out by it. Because
you have the cheat code. So you can read him. You can know all these things that,
Yeah. He knows. I think he's still having some trouble coming to terms with it, like understanding it. But I think deep down he knows it's true, and it kind of freaks him out.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take it slow with him, because at first I was very, very excited about this, and I kind of just laid a bunch of information on him at once, and I think he just was super saturated and overwhelmed. So now I'm kind of just taking a step back too, and just letting him accept it and kind of come to terms with it on his own. And when he's ready to talk about it, like he can come to me and I can, talk to him about it and stuff like that. But he's still letting me do my stuff. He's like, look, as long as, you're not like hurting yourself or like bringing in some evil stuff into the house or like whatever. I'm like, of course not. Like, that is not what but he's like, yeah, just please protect yourself and protect us. And I was like, yes, I promise that. So
do you do investigations? Do you go on investigations?
I've never been on an investigation in my life.
Okay. Interesting.
Is it something you're interested in?
Yeah, like I would be totally open for it. I have a bunch of online friends that are investigators, and I think a group 305 Paranormal is coming up to Trenton, Florida, which is not too far away from where I live, and they might do one. So like if the opportunity presents itself, I'd be more than happy. I also follow She Haunts, and she's here Florida based, and she does some great stuff. And we've also like talked a long time ago, though. I don't know if she remembers, but like it was a long time ago. Like if we ever got together, like sure, I'd love to be part of that. And I think Ghost Story Girl too, which is Orlando based. So like there's a few people that I follow that if like the opportunity presented itself, I would definitely go. And it'd be really cool to go now, especially now that I have these abilities and I can sense things in a different way rather than before. So it'd be interesting to see that.
Yes.
It would be so cool. I think other people would really like to see that too, to see you walk into a space and see what you feel and what you get, what kind of energy you pick up on.
Yeah.
You should do it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I have a 4-year-old, so it gets a little complicated with with all this stuff. But I mean, thankfully, things are looking like things are going to sort themselves out as they usually do. And I think that I might have time for some of that stuff in the future.
Yeah. So before we end, I have to ask, hopefully you've learned the ultimate thing, which is to shut people and things out when it comes to entities that are disturbing you when you don't want to have the interaction.
Right. Yeah. That's very important. How I can do it effectively and like instantly is something that I'm learning. But I definitely have enough knowledge and experience to at least keep it at bay for the most part. And I'm pretty protected from the really nasty stuff.
Yes.
What kind of measures do you take for that? Are you doing anything specific right now?
Yes. So I've done a few of my own spells to like protect the home. And then there's just basic upkeep. Like one of the tried and true ways to really protect your home is to keep it clean. People don't understand that cleaning your home is actually a spiritual exercise. And when you clean your home, you're actually helping your home stay free of some lower vibing energies and entities. So the best thing to do is to keep your home clean. And then obviously you can use incense and burn sage and burn rosemary. Rosemary, I actually burn more rosemary than sage because rosemary is more powerful for certain things. Like at least for the things that I'm using, rosemary is just as good. I think sage is better, I think, when you go into the bigger, badder stuff. So, but sage is just as popular now, so you can use sage. I burn a lot of rosemary, and because I always have rosemary on me now. And so mostly that, and then just, asking my guides to keep these things at bay and doing that in a ritualistic or spell kind of way, because that's another thing. When you do a spell or when you ask your guides, you should be asking certain things you need to ask for 3 times, certain things you need to ask for 12 times. Sometimes you just need to ask once. It just really just depends on the situation and what you need and the type of offering you're giving too.
I like the tip about the keeping your house clean, because that's not something a lot of people think about. It's like when you think of energy, you think of like entities and spirits and stuff, but like every space has energy in it. It's kind of like feng shui. You want to have good energy where you live, in your room and in your home. So that's a good tip.
Feng shui is real. So if you do want to look at feng shui, definitely check that out. How you position things in the room is also going to help. And I don't really do a lot of feng shui, but I definitely am trying to be more mindful of keeping the house clean and picked up, because negative or lower vibing energies are going to be attracted to dirty and messy spaces.
That's interesting.
Well, I'm gonna have to tell the kids that too. So,
my daughter cannot go to sleep unless she picks up the toys.
They're awesome. Yeah.
There cannot be a messy situation before we go to bed.
That's awesome.
No, that's good. Good. I like that.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for this time, Deborah. It's been amazing. And I'm going to say what everyone says to you, but we have to have you back on, because I didn't cover really anything that I really wanted to get into with you. But, we didn't get into the UFO things. There's just a lot of things. But we definitely have to have you back on. You're incredible. Your knowledge and just your, how authentic you are and real you are, and just the energy you put out. And I hope all the people who listen to this podcast get all your good vibes and all that stuff. So,
oh, thank you. I really, really appreciate that. And I'd be very, 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 very excited and honored to come back. This was really fun.
Oh, awesome. And it won't be this long, so trust me. We've gone over your origin stories, so it'll be, because I wanted to get into some of the tales that you've told on Dairyland, as far as even the whole cryptids situation. But again, story for another time. We'll definitely get into it for sure. It'd be amazing. Anything you want to say to the public or people out there? Any knowledge or information you want them to know?
I think what I want them to know the most is to be open. Not to be like me and think that none of this is real and be like a pseudo skeptic, because pseudo skeptics are essentially fundamentalists in their own right, in their own way. So don't be that person. Like, understand that experience is just as important as proof, and honor your experience before anything else.
Yeah, like believe yourself, right? Believe your experiences.
Believe in your experiences, because they're trying to show you, they're trying to tell you something.
Awesome. All right. Well, that is the end of tonight's show. And Deborah Roque, thank you so much. Roque, thank you so much for joining. I'm always getting names wrong, so you gotta be careful. But again, thank you so much. And ladies, thank you for joining me on tonight's show. And we are out.
Bye.
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 As your journey through the shadow realms of Strange Darkness Radio concludes, remember that you unlock the door to the paranormal with the key of imagination. Beyond it lies another dimension, a dimension of eerie soundscapes, chilling sights, and the profound depths of the mind. You're venturing into a land of both haunting shadows and tangible substance, where the ethereal meets the corporeal, and ideas take on a spectral form. You've just crossed over into the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. In the vast expanse of the paranormal, there exists a fifth dimension, extending beyond the known realms of our understanding. It is a dimension vast as the cosmos and eternal as infinity, a mysterious terrain between the illumination of light and the depths of shadow. This is the middle ground between the empirical and the supernatural, where fears fester in the pit of humanity's soul and knowledge ascends to its zenith. Welcome to the dimension of imagination, an area we dub the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. As you conclude your journey with us, remember that you're departing this peculiar zone, a place where reality intertwines with the surreal. Be cautious as you step out, for you may find that the boundaries between the normal and the paranormal blur, leaving you forever in the lingering embrace of the unknown. Until next time, farewell from the depths of the Strange Darkness Radio Zone.